Make your own gold claws. Level 1 to 3. Level 1. Basic spiral. Measure 4 centimeters for the nail of the claw. Then bend the wire to form a blade shape. Lock the shape in place by spiraling around once or twice. Here, I am folding under from the back. This will be key to the next step. Using a pencil as a guide, I start the spiral. I fold it under so I can spiral to the right, in a clockwise fashion. Once you meet the straight wire, fold over to secure the ring made. Lift the straight wire slightly, then wrap around the leading wire tightly. Now continue to spiral down the pencil. Lift slightly, then wrap over and around. Do this maybe 3 to 4 times, depending on your preference. You can then change to a larger diameter guide. Here, I use a metal straw, so I don't need to remove the pencil. Continue as before. Spiral your way down the guide to your preferred length and diameter. Make sure you wrap it tightly to secure the positions of the rings. Since I made this with a pinky finger in mind, I can remove my guide. From here, check your work before closing the last ring. Close the ring by looping over. Then use the straight wire to spiral around the last ring. This gives it some sturdiness. Keep going around the ring until you complete the circle or finish the wire. Then, tightly lock the wire in place. Spiral the other excess wire around the ring. Check your work and make final adjustments. Make sure the nail is straight, neat and sharp looking. And you're done. Level 1. Basic spiral. Level 2. Consecutive rings. With 1 meter wire. Measure a segment of 4 centimeters. This will be the first ring. Loop over and lock the ring. Loop the wire through the ring towards the back. Measure a 1 centimeter gap, then bend. Measure another 4 centimeters for the second ring. Same as before, lock by looping tightly around, then through the ring. You'll repeat these 4 centimeter segments about 4 times or as many as you would prefer, depending on the taper of claw you have in mind. You can use a finger's width as a guide as well. Loop around and over. Then secure through the circle. Now, we progress the sizes to increase the taper of the claw. Make a 1.5 centimeters gap. Loop over, around, then through the circle. See the 1.5 centimeters? Increase the circle segment to 5 centimeters. Now we have the template for this level 2. Go back to the nail end. Measure 4 centimeters for the nail. Then lock the triangle to the opposite side of the circle, facing you. Loop over on top, like the previous loops through the circle. The looping over step creates the natural curve of the claw. Continue down the consecutive rings. Match the spacing segments at 1 to 1.5 centimeters. Adjust the nail end and your loop overs. After a quick fit, we can continue. Keep measuring 5 centimeters for the rings. The progression of the sizes is up to you. I'm doing mine in centimeter increments. Or you can adjust it to your finger size at this point. I made this with a ring finger in mind. Complete ring, loop over, around. Then loop through. Switch to the other wire, and meet the rings to lock in place. Make some adjustments, and lock the rings. I continue to test the fit for the part in contact with my fingers. Continue as before or make a larger ring for the last part. Lock the ring in place, then spiral your excess around the final ring. Continue at the other end as well, or trim the excess if you prefer. And we're done. Level 2. Consecutive rings. Level 3. Longer spiral with trim. Use a longer piece of wire, about 1.5 arms length. Same as before, build your nail and spiral around your guide. Here I still use a pencil. You can use any tool you want to make the taper you prefer. Same as level 1, spiral down the guide, then lock around the straight wire by lifting the wire slightly. Make sure the loop over is tight to secure the spiral. After 4 spiral segments, I switch to the metal straw for a wider taper. Same as before, loop over the guide wire and lock tightly. After 4 to 5 segments, switch to a larger circumference guide. Here I use a black plastic tube for the next series of segments. Same as before, spiral your way down and around the guide, and lock at every complete turn. After 4 to 5, or like me you reach the end of the wire, close the final ring. Bend over the straight guide wire to lock the ring in place. Then spiral your excess wire around, eventually locking it tightly to place. Fold over the tip of the wire to avoid getting pricked by the end. Once done, check your spiral and make adjustments. After a quick fit, that is a longer level 1 spiral done. With this longer piece, you can better appreciate the basic spiral shape of the level 1 design. The main drawback is that the spiral is flimsy and easily deformed. We need to make the spiral more stable and rigid. To make level 3, using a new wire, we add a trim at each side. Thread a forearm's length of wire through the nail end, up to its midpoint. Loop over and through the vertical side of the nail. Make sure this is tight as it is the anchor of the side trim. Then, similar to level 2, start to thread through above and over the rings of the spiral. Try to maintain consistent measurements for the gaps of the spiral. The claw will naturally curve as you progress. Now, we're at the next set of spiral rings. The trim makes the taper also more apparent. Loop through the ring, then over. Continue to the larger set of 4 to 5 spiral segments. Make the loop slightly loose, so you can adjust the trim later. Once at the end, you can trim the excess and lock the remaining in place. As always, I prefer to spiral around the last ring, to give it rigidity and thickness. Now continue on the opposite side. You can reorient as necessary to make the looping through more convenient. Since I flipped mine over, I have to loop through and below this time. It is repetitive, but with practice it gets easier. Here is the trim made from top view. You're looping through the spiral, over your wire, then back to the next segment. You can start making your adjustments as you approach the end of the right trim. Here, I adjust the spacing of the spiral and the position of the side trim. Then I go back to lock the free wire in place at the end. Spiral around until you can lock into place. You can then tighten the loops by squeezing them from within the rings. After a test fit, make some more adjustments. Even out the spacing and the curve of the claw. Fix the nail end, keeping it straight and sharp looking. And with that, you're done. You can use a different color for the trim. Here I kept it gold on gold. Level 3. Longer spiral secured with a side trim. DIY gold claws. Level 1-3. Level 1 basic spiral. Level 2 consecutive rings. Level 3 long spiral with side trim. Unfortunately, that's all the time I've got for the day. For Level 4 and Level 5, you'll have to wait and tune in to the next video. Goodbye for now, and thanks for watching. See you next video.